I've encountered so many people who left us today to a better world, and I begged them to open up, and they haven't. And at the end of their life, they have regretted it. And they said it was our biggest mistake not to have shared our journey. Each one's journey is interesting. Yours, his, mine. We'll have things to say.
Welcome to Reimagining You, where we explore the space between who we are and who we're becoming. Well, today, I get to turn the tables on someone who's made a career of asking the questions that matter. He's had them all in his chair. But Ricardo's true genius isn't in the names he's collected. It's in the stories he's uncovered and the voices he's amplified.
Communication has opened all the doors to me. It allowed me to meet wonderful people.
You dealt with chemistry and I dealt with circuit boards. Yet we transitioned into finding a purpose, finding voices, and you found people that wanted to amplify their voice, and you did that.
Imagine yourself having a life without a purpose, without a meaning. And I believe that through my work, I was able to bridge the gap, to bring people together, to bring hearts together. And then at that time, people, had all the time to listen. However, the social media brought something different. The attention span decreased. Don't be slaves of this world that unfortunately has become a world of appearances, of shallowness. My generation had everything to prove. This generation has nothing to prove.
Welcome to Reimagining You, where we explore the space between who we are and who we're becoming, between achievement and significance, between success and legacy. I'm your host, Dr. Elie Daher. Well, today, I get to turn the tables on someone who's made a career of asking the questions that matter. But Ricardo's true genius isn't in the names he's collected. It's in the stories he's uncovered and the voices he's amplified. Through Takrim, he's honored Arab excellence. Through his shows and podcasts, he's reshaped narratives. Through PCOMs, he's teaching others to find their voice. He's been quietly and persistently architecting a new way of seeing the Arab world, one conversation at a time. But today, Ricardo, you're in my chair and I have questions. Ricardo, welcome to Reimagining You.
It's my pleasure, Eddie. Thank you so much.
I have to confess to you, and I'm sure you do the same probably. When you have a guest, you research them. Your research took me a week because I had to go through a lot of videos, podcasts, interviews, and data. But one thing came up, which I'd like to share with you. A French journalist, he said that you have close to 200 ties, and you have a suit or two ready always for any interview. So that's perfectionist in nature. But I have another whisper, and it was from your production team. And they told me, and I was surprised you came on time today because sometimes you are not punctual. So that's a perfectionist and a human being as a contradiction. What can you tell me about that? Is it true, first of all?
It might be true because I live in Lebanon and I'm based in Beirut. And in Beirut, you can control anything except time. Traffic is predominant and it has never a specific timing. When you're in Europe, you know that in the morning there is a huge traffic, a heavy one. However, there are times where things need to slow down. In Lebanon, you have no time. So I leave on time my office to reach an appointment, but I think the unexpected traffic always is misleading for me and has created, therefore, this image about me that I'm never on time. No, I'm someone who worships time, and I'm someone who knows the value of time. And I've always tried to compete with time, and it has always defeated me. I never won. I have always said that 24 hours are never enough for me to do whatever I have to do. I need more and more and more time. And I've always thought that the people who work with me would eventually embrace this passion about benefiting from time and coming up with ideas and making them happen. It was not the case.
Okay.
Being workaholic is not an easy thing, and I'm someone very workaholic.
Thank you for sharing. But I guess, you proved me the wrong way, right? Because you are punctual. You came in, even though we planned the traffic, you came in all the way from Beirut, but you arrived here right on time. So
I'm happy to be here.
thank you.
This is my first time here, and Beit Noon is heaven. It's really heaven.
It is.
Like every single guest house in Lebanon and every single village. This village, I've always heard of its existence. I've never came here. And thanks to you, I'm here. So I'm happy. I'm
And yet
grateful.
we haven't given you the grand tour. Wait till you see the grand tour of the place. Very good. I'm going to start with ambition to purpose. So we come similarly from the same background. You're a chemical engineer, I'm an electrical engineer.
Mhm.
You dealt with chemistry, and I dealt with circuit boards. Yet we transitioned into finding a purpose, finding voices, amplifying the voices. I did the leadership coaching, you did your podcast and your coaching on PCOMs, and you found people that wanted to amplify their voice, and you did that. How was this transition? Specifically, did you see it actually when you started at Magic 102 and you start feeling that?
I never thought about the future, and I've never planned where I'm standing today. Everything came in a very subtle and very natural evolution. I do not call it transition. I would rather call it evolution.
Evolution, yes.
From the scientific field and business field to the communication field, from the sciences, from the structure to the business, and then to the human nature.
Into the chaos of communication, from a structure to a chaos of communication, right?
It could be chaotic, but I think you can, I wouldn't say narrow yourself, but you need to know where to put yourself and how to deal with it. Communication has opened all the doors to me, and it has opened all the doors of my heart. It allowed me to meet wonderful people, irrespective of who they are, important, unimportant, famous, rich, poor, dreamers. They were human beings, and I love the human nature. And I think that I enjoyed decoding the nature of people, their human nature, going into the core of who they are. And it shaped me, and it made me who I am today. It allowed me to change my skin on a regular basis and to become a better human being. So this progress in my career was natural. It was fun, but it was the outcome of labor and hard work.
Of course.
And I've worked too hard, and I've reached a stage where I feel really good about everything I do, and mostly about myself.
Nice. And you're happy with the purpose, you're happy with the continuation of that journey. And I think one thing that I want to reflect and pass to the audience and viewers is that while you are in your corporate world or your profession, think always about your ambition, think about your purpose, and start building that or pacing the journey towards finding your ambition and continuing your purpose, because I think you'll find joy, you'll find meaningful transition, if you want to say, to that place where it makes you happy, makes you purposeful in life. So I guess that could be a good reflection we pass on to our viewers.
Definitely, storytelling has been really, I think, the pinnacle of everything I've done. It has transformed me, it has taken me from one side to the other, and it has created a purpose for me. And imagine yourself having a life without a purpose, without a meaning. without a goal, without an objective, and without the willingness to see the world a better place. And the better thing, I believe, to make the world a better place is to allow different voices to join this choir. We are all together, irrespective of our voices. If we all belong to a choir, whether a good one or a bad one, we're building bridges and we're constructing bridges between each one. And this is needed. It's needed. And I believe that through my work, I was able to bridge the gap, to bring people together, to bring hearts together, to bring people to the audience, to a wide audience, and to allow them to talk, to open up. And it was a healing. It was a healing for them. It was a therapy, and it was a joy for others to listen and to watch.
I want to focus on the word storytelling. I think you could be labeled as the master of storytelling because through storytelling you amplify the voices that probably some of the invisible people or invisible heroes, you amplify their voices. And I want to reflect on one interview you had with the Dalai Lama. And he told you compassion begins with listening. And I think listening is really an art. I want to give to the audience and the viewers the art of storytelling, some tips, some advice from you.
I think storytelling is not about us. It has never been about me. It was about the others. I'm here as a catalyst, as a facilitator. I speak, yes. I talk, yes. But I listen. And I think between one question and another, there is always moments of silence. And those moments are crucial. Because when there is silence, we listen to our own voice. We listen to our own heart. And we know what we want and where we are heading to. I've always brought to the screen different people. I brought known figures, unsung heroes, storytellers, ordinary people, but who had things to say. And each one of us has a story. And stories, if they are not told, they will vanish.
Absolutely.
And they need to be told. And I've encountered so many people who left us today to a better world. And I pushed them and I begged them to open up, and they haven't. And I know that during their golden years and at the end of their life, they have regretted it. And they said it was our biggest mistake not to have opened up to you, not to have spoken, not to have shared our journey. Each one's journey is interesting. Yours, his, mine, will have things to say. And they need to be told, they need to be said. So being a storyteller is about bringing those stories, whether through interviews, podcasts, through digital platforms, through the blogs, through the tweets, in a very simple way. And that, brings me to the shift in communication when the digital media world has mushroomed and it has defeated the traditional media to which we've been used. It was not easy for me to be part of it. It wasn't easy for me to acquire the language of social media and to communicate in few words. An idea where I've always been used to have a long space. I remember my first interviews, big interviews, it had no limit. 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 2 hours. We never thought about editing, about narrowing, or there were time constraints. And then at that time, people, had all the time to listen. At my beginnings, I recall pretty well, we had only the local TV stations.
Yes.
And then afterwards, we had the satellites, and then came the cable, and then, while being home, we had the channels of the whole world, and we could eventually zap from one channel to another.
Yeah.
So things have changed. However, the social media brought something different. The attention span decreased,
Yes.
weakened, and you needed to know how to attract people. Why do they follow you? Every one of us is a journalist today. Not only me, every single person with a small blog, a small Instagram account,
Absolutely.
is a journalist. So it was a difficult shift. It took me some time to say, yes, I'm going to be part of it. Then I integrated it. And then I think I've succeeded big time in it. In a few sentences, all the ideas of the world, were being conveyed. It was easy for me, and I love it. And now whatever I write, goes to millions of people because it's true, authentic,
It's authentic. Absolutely.
and there's no fakeness. I never try to play a role or to project an image I'm not. I'm not the kind of person who'll take pictures with his wife and kids and the dog, to show the perfect family, etc. No, I'm not that. Actually, I never post pictures about my family, how I live, where I go. If you follow me, you will never see anything personal. You always see something interesting, something that is of added value, something constructive. And storytelling is about authenticity, about being you and not being fake. And if it's you, you will enter the heart of each and every one. If it's someone with a facelift and with a hair that is dyed or have no hair, but in general, it would not succeed. It would be a number, only a number. And not more
Absolutely.
than-
Especially
not a
now with
brand.
the digital age and the AI and the chat GPT. Anybody can write anything, right? And then they can claim it is theirs.
Listen,
But
ChatGPT is interesting. It does help everybody. You know, you have a lot of ideas. When I used to write text, they used to take hours with me. Now I write text, it take an hour maybe, but it's fine tuned.
yes,
ChatGPT, if you need to make some research, you know, you
absolutely.
have the questions, you get the answers. It helps you.
You know what I learned? I used Claude. Yesterday I was introduced by my son, Claude.ai. And this is a research monster. So I put your name and I wanted to test it. It went to 762 sources about you and came up with a report. And it was absolutely astonishing. I mean, if you do it on other platform, it will give you the skim, right? It will give you few things. This one went into depth. So I must admit, that's what it took me to read. But this accelerated. If you want to do this yourself today, it might take you month and month to go through media, through places.
You're taking me decades ago when I started working in journalism and I became a TV host. I had no team. I was working alone and making my own research. And I recall once I was in LA and had a couple of interviews. One with Mike Tyson and one I did not want to have it. But a friend called me, told me Sylvester Stallone is here. Do you want to interview him? Sylvester Stallone? Okay, let's. So I wanted to do some research and I did not know how to Google.
Yeah.
I did not know how to make research or to make the search
It
engine on
wasn't
Google
even
work.
Google, it was Yahoo or MSN or something. Right?
It was for me Chinese at that time. So you see the evolution
Yes.
of work. And before that, I used to go in Lebanon to Dar al-Sayyad and Dar Nahar and to the EB library to make research on specific figures, to be able to find few things, photocopy them, and bring the photocopies. You can imagine.
Yeah, of
So
course.
all those techniques, all those tools are being very helpful to us, but
Yes.
we should not be slaves of those tools. And they should not do the work for us. They should be here to support, to help, and to make us gain time. So we always go back to the value of time. Time is so precious. And why to lose time on making research, whereas you have at your disposition anything you want in a few minutes?
Absolutely. So while you mentioned back in time, I want to take you back in time. And actually, I learned something very useful for me that you have practiced. So, when you wanted to invite a guest or you want to target a guest, you've been sending faxes after faxes, birthday cards in faxes, invitation in faxes, hello in faxes, being persistent.
Christmas,
Christmas,
Christmas
every
wishes,
every
New Year's
every
wishes,
other holiday,
Nuruz
fathers,
wishes.
mothers, Nowruz, everything wishes. So persistence, and I think it's not stalking the guest. It's not about being annoying, but you're trying to establish a connection that goes deep. The person at the end will cave in because he sees you in different forms, and he learns a lot. And this is very important for our viewers and audience, is building relationships and connections. This is probably the hardest part of any person who's trying to build his brand or trying to reach out and be visible. I've seen it with every guest that I've interviewed on my podcast. So, what's your view on connections? Today, we're flooded with social media. So, the fax method will not work. But how do you actually reach out guests? Now that you are a bit famous, how will you reach out guests, and most importantly, how are you going to advise my viewers and audience about building connections, building relationship?
My journey has a span of 30 years and more. It was based on hard work. And I have reached a stage in my life and an age where I still work the same way I used to work at my beginnings. The respect I have for my audience, for people, for a base of followers who are millions all over the world, who believe in what I say and who trust me, makes me wake up every morning and double my work even more. I advise everybody to follow this value and to worship it, to adopt it, to embrace it, the value of work.
Mm-hmm.
Work is a value. My generation had everything to prove. This generation has nothing to prove. This is how they feel. This is how they act. This is how they think. This is, an era of fashionistas,
Yeah.
of influencers. Anybody is an influencer. But influencer about what? About a bag? About a suit? About the appearances and not to the core? Go to the core. So my advice to everybody, go to the core. You have the chance of having an outreach very quick. But make this outreach beneficial. Make it an outreach of added value. Bring joy to people. Let them be fed with the info you will give them. Nurture them with interesting things you're seeing, you're reading, you're watching, you're listening to, things you're experiencing on a daily basis. Don't be slaves of this world that unfortunately has become a world of appearances
Yes.
and of shallowness. Life is very precious and we need to dig into it and to live it properly well. I see today on digital media how people care about showing where they go, what they eat, how they're
Mm-hmm.
dressed, weddings, parties. People need to think of that and not only go to what is light. We all need light things to have fun, to entertain ourselves. Life is too much complicated. But there are times where there are things much more important. We need to value them, to respect them, and to respect the others who do not have the luxury of embracing happiness and fun, and we need to be role models for them.
That's very profound. Thank you. Thank you. Talking about the world of today, the fashionistas and the influencers. I think one of your interviews with Bill Gates, there is a statement that stuck with me. You're not trying to be famous, you're trying to be useful. This is a great statement for any storytelling or any action that you're doing, whether you're posting or whether you're communicating. I could share also from my perspective on whenever I coach a leader. It's not about guiding him or her. It's about if I can do an impact or a shift or a small movement that helps him or her, I think I've done my job really as a coach. So I think this speaks to really where the era is and where we need to be placed and positioned as being useful. So you're not chasing followers, even though you have millions of followers, but you're not actively looking for all the likes on LinkedIn or on Instagram. They come naturally because you're authentic, you're true to yourself, to the story, and to the voice that you're representing. So I really respect that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit to another part. We talked about networking and relationship building. We talked about purpose. We talked about communication. But I want to dig deeper on the communication and storytelling because I think this is another challenge that I see people struggling with. I'm the culprit of that. When I started early in my career in the corporate world, I thought 50 slides, PowerPoint presentations will do the trick. So the light is not on me, the light is on my presentation. The art of communicating, the art of speaking, and even today, I was a bit nervous being with you, and I prepared my notes, but then now I let them off because I'm very prepared and I'm confident. So now I'm speaking from the heart. I'm really learning from you. So I want your advice on how leaders today shift from a 50 slide deck to really a crystal clear message. And how do we prepare for it and not to be nervous when they communicate?
I believe it's not something innate. We're not born with it. We work on it. It needs time. It requires expertise and coaching, as you've said. Coaching is crucial today, and everybody's coached. But not everybody can touch the chord of someone else's heart and mind.
Mm-hmm.
For any leader, I think to have an impact and to be taken seriously and to have integrity, I think he needs to be himself. He needs to be himself. You cannot fool people anymore.
Mm.
And not everybody is a coach. Today, you ask any person you come across, he tells you, I'm a life coach.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But he's a life coach. Great. And I love when people work on themselves and they try to embrace, a new profession maybe. And being, a life coach requires reading and working and inner healing. But not everybody succeeds. So I think leaders need to be themselves. They should think as such. Coaching is crucial, yes. At the same time, be natural, be yourself, and there should be something from you. Don't count on the coaches you have. Count on you, what you can give, and what you feel will cater to the people who love you,
And be
who
confident.
follow you. Voila. And confidence, and trust come with time.
Yes.
But at the beginning, think as such. Don't think that others will do the work for you.
Mm-hmm. Great advice. Great advice. Stop those scripts. Stop those tweets. I was doing a little bit of research on LinkedIn. Everybody is on LinkedIn. Probably the professional world is on LinkedIn. And you have people with 500,000 followers. And they put a post. And I start analyzing the post and the engagements. And you see a post of 500,000 followers has maybe 200 likes and 60 comments. And I have about 6,000 followers. And I put a post. And I get 50 likes, 20 comments. So I do the ratio. My ratio is much better than the other person who has followers, right? So that gives me a question. Is his message or her message going far? And who's reading it and who's commenting? Versus the impact of my message to the people. And of course, I write all my messages like you do. And it comes from me, and I share stories. And I try to share as much as possible the stories, specifically of unsung heroes, right? That I meet every day. So that gives me a good reflection. I know you're in a space, you're a different space. You're not on LinkedIn as such. You are on LinkedIn, but you're not talking to the corporate world, but you're talking to the mass in terms of stories, in terms of impact.
For a reason.
Mm.
I know that LinkedIn is a professional tool and a crucial one. I love that platform because of the quality of people
Yes.
who are using it and who are glued, seeking opportunities and making connections and trying to make deals. I've never used LinkedIn for that purpose. I've always used it to amplify my voice.
Mm-hmm.
When you are heard, when you are what they call a top voice or an influencer,
Yes.
you need to use your platform to look for truth, to seek justice, to make reforms, to make the world a better place. And your voice should be a voice of awakening. So the ones who are not listening, will wake up and will say, wow, there's something happening. And I think there's a trend today. It's not only for professionals, LinkedIn. Many people are adopting it to convey a message where values are at the forefront and where the well being of the other is a
Mm-hmm.
purpose by itself. So, yes, I'm on LinkedIn. I have a lot of followers on LinkedIn. Don't ask me how, etc. Everything I've worked on was naturally
All organic.
and organically, growing. And I recall, a few years ago, I received an email from LinkedIn in San Francisco telling me, we've picked you as the only Lebanese LinkedIn influencer. And for me, I said, wow, I did not have a lot of followers at that time, maybe 10,000. And they said, for the content you are posting and you are sharing, extremely interesting, diversified,
Nice.
authentic. And I love that. Before that, I had accounts that were dormant, latent.
Mm.
I never had time for that. And I understood the importance and the impact of using the digital platforms as those ones. So, yes, professionalism and seeking opportunities is important, but at the same time, our voices are what matter. Every single person is communicating. Architects, artists, we need to communicate. We need to make people understand our ideas. And we need to showcase what we are doing. We cannot be low profile and have professions that cater to the public. It's impossible. It's impossible. And we need to be instigators of conscience at the same time. Conscious
Yeah.
is important.
I want to bring a topic here about the economy because I think what you've done is you embraced the attention economy. So, in my book, this book, Reimagining You, on the third chapter, I talk about the hybrid economy. And this is an interesting topic because people don't realize that yet. And people sometimes, particularly in my age, where we went to school, we went to university, we amassed knowledge, we went through work and we got experience, and we amassed all this knowledge. And then at the workplace, we start giving back the knowledge through practice, through actions, through projects. And this is where really knowledge economy has been, and we're still in the knowledge economy. However, with the birth of all the social media, you're one of the adopters of the social media and the digital platforms, as you shared in 2019. They went. There is a whole breed of attention economy. Where one is called the creator economy, which is a subset, which is all the young generation that is posting on Facebook, on Instagram, and trying to make money, right? And that is the intimacy economy, where now organizations are getting to know you more and trying to personalize the service to you based on the digital actions that you do. So together they make the attention economy. So the cross section between the knowledge economy and the attention economy is making the hybrid economy. And we're living in the hybrid economy. So for senior leaders and people like myself and my age, there are still in 30 years and 40 years in the professional world, they need to start making the shift. They need to start embracing that. Now, how do you embrace the digital economy or the attention economy? You need to start having a voice. You still need to post. You need to write something. You need to publish something. You need to create and let it be consumed, because knowledge that you have now is confined within your walls of the corporate. You need to have a voice because that's useful for somebody somewhere. So that brings me to the hybrid economy. And why am I sharing this? Because you mentioned doctors and lawyers. And I want to seek your opinion on that, because I look at two doctors, very famous doctors. Take oncologists, the best oncologists in the world, one in the East and one in the West. In their lifetime, they probably have seen 500 patients or 800 patients with all their digital, MRIs and PET scan and you name it, right? And they're both great doctors. And you can go to either, and then he or she can give you you know, a recipe. What differentiates Dr. A to Dr. B, you think? They both have the same kind of knowledge. They both have the same power. They have the same kind of cases that they've seen. What would differentiate them? Why would you go to Dr. A, not Dr. B?
Many reasons:
Okay,
empathy,
very good.
humanity, availability, compatibility, and there's a chemistry with X more than with Y. It's important. Your doctor becomes your friend. Your health is the most precious thing.
Yes,
And you entrust your health to the person you believe, you're good, you're in security with him or with her. And it's all about psychology. This is how I see it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the answer. I call these uniqueness. So it's the uniqueness of that doctor that attracts you to him. And uniqueness is defined by empathy, adaptability, and approach, and being in your shoes, being feeling with you. So a Dr. A would ask you, do you have insurance? Do you have money? Do you travel? What's your lifestyle? Do you have kids? Are you going to get kids? Or whatever questions that he will ask. Dr. B, he will say, no, this is the protocol. You have to take it. And that's the protocol. So, of course, you're going to navigate to the Dr. A who has all this empathy and stuff. So that's uniqueness. And a lot of these jobs, unless they develop uniqueness and they put their uniqueness in the light, they will just resolve, right? And dissolve. Lawyers, accountants, anybody that is in that space where it's competitive in nature and it's based on the knowledge. So that's where you embrace the hybrid.
You
What do you think of
know,
that?
we're all unique at the end of the day,
Yes.
and each one of us is seasoned with the experiences we go through. And that's what makes us different. And I believe in the human experiences. And at this age, I wouldn't like to go back to my 20s, to my 30s.
Okay.
I'm so happy with the peace I have acquired and with the balance and harmony I was able to reach. And I wouldn't trade this for anything in the world. In my 20s and 30s, I wanted to change the world.
Yes.
I don't want to change it anymore. Today, whatever happens, happens. I try to make it a better place. And living in this country made me think about Ziad Rahbani, who said, I did not want to change the country. However, I worked and I tried and I made experiences so that this country doesn't change me.
Nice.
So beautiful, I
So
think.
beautiful.
This is the philosophy of Ziad. And I think everything he
God
said,
bless his soul.
had something philosophical.
Mhm.
To the wisdom, the popular wisdom.
Yes.
Without gloves, real, natural, no fakeness, real
Mhm.
life. And that's what made him unique.
Yes. Absolutely. Well said. I think we're going to go through one more question, which is multicultural. You speak Arabic, French, English. You lived in the US, Europe, Middle East. You've interviewed people across the world. So we live, particularly in the Middle East, and I based in Dubai, where I see a lot of multicultural aspect in leadership. You manage a team close to about 100 different nationalities. We, as coming from Lebanon, we're resilient, we're adaptable, but some other leaders are not. So we're going to talk about multiculturalism. Is it a mindset? Is it just embracing the different values? Is it sticking with your own values and putting them out as the corporate culture? So I want to shed the light on the culture. I mean, I want to quote also Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. He has a famous book. I don't know if you read it. What got you here will not take you there. And I think I'm going to correct this or add to it because he talks about it in the context of changing from the mindset of 20 years ago to now. I want to add to it, which is what got you here. Well, actually, is better to think about where are you from, and that will be better for you to embrace that. So back to your religion, to your region, to your roots, to your values. So what do you think of the approach on multicultural? How do you lead with authenticity and values while you're adapting to the different cultures?
You mentioned something very important, and I think every single person who is listening to us now should remember where we are coming from. People might be taken more by where they are heading to, but they always want the result
Mm-hmm.
because they want to amplify the lifestyle, they want to make it better, they want to make more money, they need more fame, they need more power. This is, their target in life, and they forget what is fundamental. where we are coming from.
Yeah.
And where we're coming from is not a geographic location, but is a state of mind. How we're raised, the values we're nurtured with, and those values made us who we are. And those values need to be perpetuated in our life and in our children, and afterwards to our grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this is very important. This is how we are shaped, and this is who we are. Cultures are here to make us think broader and bigger and look further, but without forgetting who we truly are. Languages are tools, of course. I recall Omar Sharif, who told me I'm not the best actor, but I spoke English pretty well. When Peter O'Toole and I think David Niven, etc., they came and they were looking for an actor that had the features of somebody Egyptian or from the Gulf or Arab. They interviewed me and I spoke English fluently. He was a student of Victoria's College in Alexandria. And he was picked. It was a tool and changed his life and became a star. But however, you had in Egypt better actor than him.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a tool. So languages are important. Cultures are important. Traveling is important. Meeting people, building bridges, opening up, and not remaining narrow. And it opens our heart more, our empathy more, our vision, and at the end of the day, it reinforces and makes our humanity bigger and bigger. So this is how I see culture. Culture is not about languages. It's not about food. It's not about authors and music. No, it's much more than that. It's about values. And those values will grow more and more when we acquire the best of what we find in others' communities, lifestyles, and through our experiences. This is how I look at it.
Nicely said. Nicely said. I'm going to drop the $1,000,000 question. It's your signature question.
Huh?
What do you hope people say when you're outside the room?
He's someone comfortable in his skin, who does not pretend to be someone he's not. And he's someone who truly loves human beings, who is not fake, and who's real. Actually, you know what? I do not care what people say. Honestly. However, I care if they respect the work I'm doing and if they see the integrity in what I'm doing. This is what matters. They've always asked me, what do you want your kids and your children to think of you? Is it true that what you're doing is for them to be proud of? I said, not at all. Not at all. What matters to me is the future, for my kids to remember that I was a good father. I gave them time. I spent time with them. I told them a lot. We shared good moments. And they would say, our father gave us values, and those values, you know, are what we have today. Voila. This is, I think, in the Bible. You know, they give us
Yes.
a lot of weights,
Yes.
and those weights are here to be perpetuated, not to dig in the soil and put them in the soil. On the contrary, they're here. This is who we are. This is what we can do. Let's make the best out of them. And I think I made the best of what I got, and I make it every day.
So people remember you not the stuff you've done, but how you made them feel and how you amplified the voice and gave them a platform to reach.
I hope. I
You leave a
hope.
legacy behind you.
I hope. I think
People
this is too
remember you well.
pretentious. This is too pretentious, but I hope so. I did my best, and I served the community as much as I can.
And I know you don't care about my opinion, as you mentioned, but I agree 100%. Ricardo, thank you so much for being honest, authentic, true to this podcast and to the audience and the viewers. And it's you, and you've been you. And it was a wonderful talking to you and sharing all the tips and advice and stories, or at least tips to say a story.
Thank you so much, Elie. It was a pleasure for me to be reimagined by you. And I hope you know what we said, what we shared was interesting to the people listening to us. I believe again and again in storytelling, and I believe in dialogue. And this is the only thing that will make this chaos become less and less, and what can make this world much better. Listening to each other and establishing a mindset of dialogues, of respect, of integrity. Thank you.
Ricardo, we started with the paradox 200 ties but late to wear them. And I think that perfectly captures what you've taught us today. True impact isn't about having all the answers perfectly pressed and ready. It's about showing up human, staying curious, and creating space for others to discover their own truth. You once sent holiday greetings via fax until someone said yes. Today, you've built an empire on the same principle: persistence paired with grace, patience wrapped in purpose. Through Takreem, through every conversation, through PCOMs, you've proven that the most powerful personal brand isn't the one that shouts the loudest. It's the one that listens the deepest. You asked me when storytelling became my truth, but Ricardo, you've shown us something more profound: that our stories only matter when they help others find theirs. You haven't just interviewed the great, you've helped us all reimagine what greatness looks like. To our listeners navigating their own journey, Ricardo's path reminds us that authenticity isn't a strategy, it's a practice. Your accent, your roots, your unique perspective, they're not obstacles to overcome, they're gifts to offer. The world doesn't need another perfect broadcast. It needs your particular frequency. Ricardo, thank you for turning interviews into invitations, questions into quests, and conversations into bridges. And thank you all for joining us in that space between who you are and who you're becoming. Until next time, remember, prepare like you own 200 ties, but show up ready to be surprised. Lead with curiosity, listen with courage, and trust that your most authentic self is always your most powerful brand. This is Dr. Elie Daher reminding you that you're not just building a career, you're composing a legacy, one conversation at a time. Stay tuned every Thursday, 5 p.m. Dubai time, for another great episode with a great legend to listen to. Thank you.